Welcome to Ground Up Growth, where we share entrepreneurial insights, business strategies, and personal growth lessons to help listeners build success from the ground up.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today we are continuing our conversation with Mr. Cameron Hartley, owner of Hartley Equipment Company right here in Gluckstadt.
Yeah, so where I left off a minute ago was kind of back in 2021. 2021, I bought the property on Church Road where I'm at now. Funny thing about that, I grew up dove hunting that field where my store is now. My good
neat.
buddy as a kid's family owned it, and we started moving dirt and thousands of shotgun shells. I was like, I wonder how many of these are mine. And
That's
but I wanted to stay in Gluckstadt. I was on board with the idea of Gluckstadt before it really was cool. I knew that, the taxes and this, that, and the other, but we as a community needed an identity.
That's right.
And, I was, even when I opened my store in 2016, I technically had a Canton address, but I put Gluckstadt with that Canton zip code, and I kept trying to brand myself and my business as Gluckstadt and things like that. So when, that all came about to become a city, I was very involved with that. And, I had the community, behind me, supporting me because I supported the community. And, the land on Church Road, was perfect for what we needed. The traffic count was
considerably more.
Yeah, 1,000% more than the road I was on. And, so began building on it in 2024. And it was a make or break me deal. I told everybody, this is no joke. There will not be any in between. It will either make me or break me. And I spent every dime and every dollar that I had to get in there and took every risk I had. And, I was willing to face defeat, not accept defeat, but I was willing to face it if that were to happen, because if
that's pretty powerful. Yeah.
If we had, so I opened the new location February of 25, and if we were to have the D word that summer, that is drought, we don't like to say that word, but if the D word was to have occurred in 2025, I'd have been up a creek. So,
wow.
And so to give a little bit of perspective on a drought in my business. So I network with a lot of dealers all throughout the country. Some of these guys are near about my age, but a lot of these men I deal with are old enough to be my grandpa. And, they talk about an industry like we're in. And when I say right now, I'm just talking about the outdoor power side, not the rental or landscape supply. And they say that, no business is bulletproof from anything, but ours is shown historically over time that it can survive a lot of things. So, one thing that a lot of these guys will hit on is recession, economy, elections. We're able to pretty much hold our own, and they've given me examples. Recession, hey, sales went way down, but service went way up. I couldn't go buy that new lawnmower, but I had to keep it running and fixed. But they've always told me, if there is a drought,
Buckle
you
up.
better buckle down. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But we had a drought in 2023. I already had all my ducks in a row to start this building, and there wasn't no backing down even at that point. And in 2023, when it stopped raining in June, our sales got cut by almost 50%. And I was like,
Golly.
okay, how do I overcome this? And there was no plan. I couldn't control it. And it didn't rain the rest of the year. Y'all remember?
That was terrible. We had 2 years in a row that were record droughts.
So I just had to buckle down. That killed a lot of my reserves. So a business like mine, you basically kill yourself 8 months out of the year, late February to October. And all you do is put it away for
the 4
so
months.
that you can float the rest of the year. Because once October hits, I start dipping. And then once it gets cold and rainy, no one can work outside. And when my contractors can't work and your homeowners are not going to work in inclement weather at all, well, we just start nosediving. Well, that's when you start, pulling from, the coffer, trying to keep it going. Well, that didn't exist in 2023. So I had to figure out how to overcome that. going into 2024, knowing that we were breaking ground the winter slash spring, the winter of 23 slash spring of 24. And I was like, let's go, and that's when that mindset came in. It's like, dude, I am so screwed if this doesn't work.
But
So-
to your point, you made a very good comment about, facing defeat, not accepting defeat. And you've just got, and this is what it takes, but figure it out. You are the mindset. I mean, we're cut from the same cloth. Like, put me in, tell me I can't do it. I mean, that's how I started my real estate brokerage. Was told I was going to make no money in it.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. But like, I'm gonna figure it out.
Absolutely. I don't have an option. I wear a bracelet on my arm that my buddy Joe Shivers gave me. And when he showed it to me, I said, I have to have that because it is my life's philosophy. And it says, commit first, figure out the rest later. And that's how I've always been. You know, I dive in head first. I know that I can do it, and I'll just figure it out as I go.
Committing to it forces you to figure it out. I mean, that's like,
I don't just think a thought and go, maybe. I think a thought and go, abso-freaking-lutely. I'm doing it.
And
you
get
can't
out of
hold
my
me
way.
back. And like you said, if somebody tells me no, they just poured gas on my fire, baby. Because I'm out of control then. So, but yeah, man, it gets me going. I love the challenge of it. And what I do is extremely challenging. So,
man, that's very impressive. Well, you built a heck of a business. Hannah, what kind of question you got? Because I know you over there thinking about cutting your yard.
That's what I've been thinking about the whole time. No, I think, one, I want to know a little bit more about your business and who you cater to. Like, it's so interesting. Like, is it really just the landscape contractors?
No. So I keep focusing on that because that's who,
That's
in a
who you
sense,
kinda-
that's who pays our bills.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're there. If they're not there daily, they're there weekly.
Yeah.
And we have been able to capture a very big chunk of the Jackson Metro contractors. We've been able to capture their business. They've seen that when we back up the brands that we sell. I tell folks all the time, anybody can sell the product. And I'll be standing in my showroom and my wall will be behind me. I'll say, all of this is just for show. But what's behind this wall is what built my business. And that's where I've got, Hunter that's been with me Hunter has been working with me for 12 years now. He was with me with landscape business. And so he has seen this vision and he has built that shop. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. But we try to bend over backwards for everybody. Heck, we're 2.5, 3 weeks out right now, but we have, 150 lawnmowers that need to be repaired. It's just part of it. It's just the nature of the beast. But to go back to what you're saying, so I focus on landscape contractors. It's just how I'm wired.
Yeah.
But no, our clientele is every walk of life. Every walk of life. Municipalities, your homeowners, your DIYers, your large property owners that have a caretaker. And that's what's so cool is I see the folks that come up there that, are spending their last dollar to buy a weed eater to keep their business alive. Or I see somebody that comes in there that could, stroke a check and buy a Gluckstadt, Mississippi. I literally deal with everything, and it's so cool to see that, and, like I said, I've been asked that a lot, and I really don't know how to put it all in perspective, but we literally cater to everybody. If you like to work outside, we cater to you, and
having that experience.
We got, little Miss Sue that likes to tinker in her flower beds and she don't know how to run a piece of equipment. Well, she's at my landscape building buying her a bag of potting mix. And, it's just, the folks that we're able to capture it's just tremendous.
Yeah.
Was that your vision from the beginning? Or do you think it evolved into catering to such a wide audience?
Well, my vision in the beginning was to be, the absolute best I could be. And I think in that vision is to cater to as many people as possible. And a lot of what I do, has forced me to diversify because, when you bought your mower, you're not going to come back next year and buy another one. So I've got to figure out how to keep folks coming back. How do I get the new person in the door? What can I do to get somebody up here that may need something else in the business, but realize, dang, these suckers sell all kinds of other stuff. And
you need to have me on a banner up there that says need a chainsaw, and then we'll put that chainsaw.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the chainsaw that's taller than we are. So, but
what are you doing with that chainsaw?
I got into
milling,
it's Alaskan mill. Got into doing sawmilling, cutting this table that we're at. I cut it with that chainsaw. So it's got a 54-inch bar on it, and we had to get it from Germany.
Yeah, when you stand it up, it's taller than we are.
I mean, it's like a house payment too. Yeah. It was
so
pretty good. It sounds like a Harley Davidson when you crank it up.
It's a bad mamma jamma. But
man, well, that is an incredible story. We really appreciate you coming on, and especially, man, I mean, March 19th. I mean, this is your busiest time of year.
Yeah.
I know you probably stressed sitting here. I really appreciate you.
I'm a little strung out, to say the least. So, but no, I'm fortunate to have this opportunity. I've never done nothing like this. I get asked all the time, and this, that, and the other, and I could probably spend a whole nother hour, yammering about other things.
Well, I think I really commend you for, like you said, with the Kincaid kid, like giving back, and like, cause you've done it from the ground up. I mean, you're a perfect example, and I commend you for doing that, because it'd be so easy to be focused on your business and growing things and be like, I ain't got time to give back. It's not going to make me any money to help this kid in his questions, but you were that same kid at one point. So like recognizing that, injecting back into other people, I think is just a really good attribute. So I commend you on that, and your example of hard work, dedication, putting it all on the line. I mean, you built a very successful landscape company, and then you built the equipment company, and the equipment company was successful. So all that, and then when you build the next store, you said, I put it all on the line. So you had proved all the other things, and you had made it. You still had to double down to do the newest location. And so like that, not everybody's got that. And I think, but for the people that do, like, lean in on that. To your point, and we just interviewed Grace Sturdivant, and had the same conversation. You hit the same point she did. Like, people tell you, they're going to give you their opinion. I don't think you ought to do it. I don't think you ought to leave school to go do it. And I'm not saying leave school to do it, but if you believe in yourself and you've got that fire and that drive, lean in. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen, especially at a young age? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I just think you've done a very good job of kind of painting that picture. And, man, I'm super happy for you.
I appreciate it, Paul. You've been with me from the get-go and seen it all happen. And, man, there's one thing I can tell folks. If they think this is easy in a cakewalk, they can wear these shoes, and I bet you they won't make it an hour. Some days I feel like my limbs are getting pulled off my body. I'm getting pulled so many directions. But, that's what motivates me. I can't get out of bed in the morning unless I'm stressed out. I mean, or unless I have the pressure on me,
I think
one day I'd like to get that elephant off my shoulders, but then again,
then you'd be
bored.
You'd be
bored.
bored.
You'd be like, bored. What I do? So, and
will.
I'm constantly, scheming. I've got, I got a lot of stuff up these sleeves, and I got a lot of stuff that I have plans for. But, as I've gotten older in the business, when I first started that 3-year mark, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, we're killing it. This is gonna work. And then you get all these crazy harebrained ideas, and now, looking at it now, things are a process, and what you as, 10 years ago thought could take a year, that might be a 10-year process to get to these next, levels and, things like that. But it, man, I love what I do, and I love supporting folks, and I love meeting people, and I like taking care of people, and that's why customer service is the backbone of my business.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Cameron. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah, Paul. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.